Put your hands up if you are or you know someone who is always late. Let's be honest here. We all know that friend, or maybe perhaps you are that friend who is always late to meetings, to meetups and friendly catch-ups. They're the people who say that they're 10 minutes late, but in reality, they're probably still in bed and perhaps even half asleep. And I can raise my hands up here and say that I've definitely been that person before. Or maybe that friend where you arrange to have a friendly catch up at 5 o'clock in the evening, but they don't show up until 7 o'clock. Maybe you've gotten so used to that sort of person that you always tell them that the schedule arrangement is at 5 o'clock when actually it's meant to be at 7 because you know that they're always going to be late. But then the big question is it just innate in some people to just be late? It's just within them, it's just part of who they are. Or is it that they just don't care enough to be on time unless it really matters? So we are just going to dissect that and try to understand lateness. Hey guys, it's Trezor, where I make videos discussing, chatting and talking about life and also share my own experiences as well. And I also sprinkle in a little bit of travel, study with me's and read with me's as well. And if that matches your vibe, subscribe to join the club. Anyway, let's get back to the main aim of this video. Okay, so let's picture these two different types of people. So let's start with the inherently late crew. And these are the people who genuinely cannot tell how long things take. These are the people who I'd say really do try. Perhaps they might set alarms and promise to themselves that they will leave 15 minutes earlier. They might even map out and know the journey that they will take. But somehow life just throws a spanner in the works and it just blunders. The bus is late, tube strikes, can't even remember where they left their keys. The stress just makes it worse. That stress where you don't remember where you put your keys in the house is a lot. And that can take so much time. Or maybe you've got a little bit of time. So you tell yourself, I'm just going to quickly finish writing up this email. I'm going to quickly finish up writing this application that I'm doing. And that quickly, which originally was meant to be 5 to 10 minutes, can actually be, in reality, 30, 50, 1 hour. And then you just lose track of time. And then you just end up being late anyway. And then there's the I don't care enough crew. They can be on time when they want to be on time. Job interview at 9 a.m. in the morning, they'll be there at 8:45. If not before that. Flight to Iceland, already packed the night before, if not a week before. Concert, they're already queuing 5 hours early. But a lunch date, a friendly get-together, a family dinner, suddenly they're running late. Is that true, or was it just not worth the extra effort? Lateness in those situations can be perceived as a choice. Mysteriously never late when it matters, but we'll use the, oh, I lost track of time, and I'm just terrible with time. Okay, let's look at this a little bit deeper. There are specific conditions such as ADHD and I believe ADD, where losing track of time is inevitable and is a common trait. 10 minutes may feel the same as an hour. And with that, being late is not necessarily a choice. It's just how the mind works. And I don't know a lot about ADHD, and I definitely do not claim to know a lot about ADHD. But from the little that I do know of it, and I remember doing a workshop on it like a couple of months back, I believe in last year, December. There was a workshop on it that I attended where they talked about ADHD. Anyway, I believe that it's not really their fault. And then there's the perfectionist, the distracted perfectionists, let's say. These are the people who are not late because they don't care, but they are late because they care too much. Now, hear me out here. For instance, they can't leave the house until they finish washing the dishes and have to check that they finished the task that they were doing before well enough for them to leave and go out. And that quick task spirals from maybe originally meant to be 5 minutes to 20 minutes and then half an hour. And then that just builds up so much that they then become late to wherever they were meant to be. The intention is there, but the execution, not so much. And then there's the adrenaline obsessed. Lateness is not seen as a flaw, but more of an excitement, a thrill, one may say. They like the haste and they like the rush. It gives them that sense of a drama, like their life is a movie. Who needs skydiving when you can experience the gut-wrenching anticipation and suspense on whether you will get there before the meeting starts? And then there's the over-optimistic. They live in, let's say, a parallel universe where time stretches like a rubber band. To them, making it to a 7 p.m. dinner reservation is as simple as leaving the house at 6:55. Just jump in a car, park right outside the restaurants, and then you'll get there before 7, if not by 7. The spontaneous. Yes, it can work. I'm not saying that it's not possible, but then I feel like they also forget the getting ready part, the washing your hair part, the finding the keys, the looking for the keys, and the potential traffic jam or traffic along the way. And I don't know about you, I don't think that takes 5 minutes to do. And these people, the over-optimistic people, genuinely believe that it is possible, that they can do more in less time. And I don't know about you, but as a maths tutor myself, the maths is not mathing for me. Not from my perspective anyway. And in all these sorts of situations, in all these sorts of scenarios that I've given, I feel like there is a key denominator, and that is priorities. And I feel like lateness sometimes can reveal what and who someone values most. And I think that's just a reality. But the thing is that lateness can derive from a cultural aspect as well. In some cultures, lateness is the norm, is accepted. And I'm just going to say 2 words here, and if you know, you know. African time. That is a phrase that I have known and have been accustomed to for many years. And for those of you who are not aware of what African time is, I'm just going to give you an example. So let's say, for instance, you have an event like a party, and you say it starts at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And everyone knows that. Everyone knows that it starts at 3 p.m. But people don't arrive to the party until 5, 6, even 7 p.m. Now that's what we call African time, because almost everyone shows up late. But in countries like Japan, for instance, lateness is not seen as a great thing. Punctuality isn't about being polite. It's more of a sign of respect. Showing up 5 minutes late can feel like you've insulted the host. But then as I say it, I also feel like it can be situational as well, depending on what the event or thing is that you are late to. Like, for instance, I think that no matter what country you're in, if it's the UK, the US, or any country in the world, being late to a job interview or just an interview in general is not good at all. Because it doesn't leave a good first impression. Because if you can't show up to an interview on time, what's the likelihood that you would be able to show up day in, day out to the job that you are applying for? But anyway, What I find interesting is how these cultural norms can shape how we interpret lateness on a personal level. In some cultures, it's an absolute no no to be late, no matter the situation. Whereas in others, it's widely accepted, it's expected at times. So maybe we can't necessarily blame someone for being late if growing up from a cultural perspective and what they knew, being late was normal. And I'll be honest with you guys, I've been on both sides on the types of people for lateness. And I feel like most of us have anyway. When it comes to big things like catching a flight, a train, or a job interview, I'm that person who will show up ridiculously early. If I've got a flight, I'm at that airport at least 3 to 4 hours ahead of time. My bag would have been packed the night before, or maybe even 2 or 3 nights before, and I already know the exact route I'm going to take to get to the airport. Why? Because the opportunity cost of being late is too high. Miss that flight, and suddenly I'm out a few hundred or so pounds. I have to buy another ticket, and that's going to be more expensive than the ticket that I bought for the flight. And that stress is just not worth it. So I over prepare. But on the other hand, if I'm meeting like a friend that I see quite often, or going to something that I view as less urgent, then my brain just relaxes. I'll still make the effort to get there on time. And I'll just tell myself that if I'm going to be late, I'm not going to be late more than 10 minutes. But I can definitely say that I don't treat it with the high intensity and with the high enough effort as I would with catching a flight. And now that I'm reflecting on it, I think it's less about not caring and more about urgency and consequences of being late in those situations. Missing a flight will cost me hundreds of pounds, if not thousands of pounds. Whereas getting to a coffee date or friendly catch up on time just leads to a text saying, oh, sorry, I'm going to be a few minutes late. And that's just how my priorities subconsciously rank things. For me, it comes down to discipline and planning. I have learned that the only way to be punctual is to manage your time well. And honestly, at times, to trick yourself. If I need to be somewhere at, let's say, 11 a.m. in the morning, I will automatically tell myself that I need to be there for 10:45. That way, even if I slip up a little bit, let's say there's traffic on the road or any other situations that can potentially make me be late, I have that 15 minutes window so that at the end of the day, I will still make it on time. All in all, depending on the situation, lateness can be seen as a sign of disrespect. It can be a mirror of what we value and how we view the other person's time. And maybe lateness isn't as simple as you're just being rude or that you're being careless. For some people, it's genuinely the way their brain processes time, whereas for others, it's about weighing up the consequences. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Whether we mean it or not, our punctuality or lack of punctuality sends a message. Showing up on time can say that I respect your time and I value your time. Whereas being late, especially if it's a pattern of behavior, can send a message that my priorities come before your own and that I don't respect your time and I don't respect you, or that I don't really care enough to show up on time, even if that's not what we intend. And that's why lateness can sting for some people more than others, because they read it as a statement about how much you value them and their time. At the end of the day, I can't talk for everyone, but I feel like I can say that we have all been late at some point, or we are sometimes late, and may have even been on the receiving end of lateness. Maybe the key is just honesty. If you know you're going to be late, own it. Don't pretend that you're 5 minutes away when you're still in the shower getting ready. And if you're the one waiting, maybe extend a little bit of grace. Unless it's a pattern of behavior, of course, then you can like side eye them and be like, okay. If there's anything you can take from this video, try as best as you can to be punctual, because punctuality is important. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, why not subscribe? And check out my recent video that I did where I talked about silence, specifically how sometimes silence can be the best response. Or if you want something that's a little bit more lighthearted, with more adventure and travel, check out my day 1 in Finland. Day 2 will be coming out very soon, so stay tuned for that. Anyways, I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you guys when I see you, which will be next week. Anyway, guys, bye.